Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Shruti Jain. Welcome to this faculty development program. This session is about the roles and responsibilities of a teacher in higher education institutions. I'm sure all of you will agree with me that because of the challenging circumstances created by the COVID 19 pandemic, massive revolutions in information and technology, and also as the world is becoming global, we cannot deny that the educational environment is transcending the boundaries of conference halls and classrooms and extending itself into our homes and the world around us. There is a shift from standardized learning to a lifelong learning, and this shift has prompted thousands of us teachers to review the different facets of our job that range from relationship with students, colleagues, and the outer big world, methodologies, pedagogies, tools, techniques, curriculum, syllabus, learning outcomes, and the channels of discussions. In short, we teachers need to reconsider and restructure the art and science of learning and vis a vis our roles and responsibilities as teachers in this fast changing postmodern world. So, through four sessions today, let us try to rethink and redesign these roles and responsibility of ours and empower the teaching learning process with new meanings, ideas, and tools. Now, before we start discussing our roles and responsibilities as teachers, let us take a look at the different classroom structures that have been a part of our history. Class structures that point to a gradual transformation of the institutions of higher education. If we begin talking about the modern day Indian institutes of higher education, then they have their roots in the British colonial rule. Around 1780s, the East India Company had set up the first institution of higher education in Calcutta. So, let us go to the medieval universities of Britain itself. They were something like this. Along with the classroom setup shown in this picture, if I refer to the setup of Indian Vedic education, religious lectures, or preachings of Arthashastra, we can say that there were only few books and students. And the seat of the teacher with the book was the only source of information and education. Then, with the advent of printing press in 15th century, there was an increase in the number of students and books. More people gained access to information, and many people started going to this place called library. One could go to the library and read. However, the accessibility was not easy for everyone in terms of time and reachability. Also, each and every library could not have all the published and printed books, which is a fact till date. From 1935 started the Indianization of education, and by 1960s and 70s, as countries were coming out of the clutches of colonial power, expansion of universities began worldwide. Here we can see many students studying, but still the teacher has been assigned the role of the primary information giver. The teacher standing in the front of the classroom poured knowledge. But today in 21st century, when society is progressing at a very fast pace and with many innovations in a single day, teachers will also have to learn the fact that knowledge is ever growing. And more than that, it is growing rapidly. Yes, I use the word learn. Teachers also do learn, and in fact, the best way to inspire our students is to make learning the most inspiring thing. Let the students understand that in this ever evolving world, the constant process of learning is the most significant thing. In this century, the role of a teacher has been transformed into a reflective facilitator and practitioner. Conceptualization is important, but then the students have to be guided by the teachers to learn to critically reflect on the concepts. The students have to be motivated to imbibe, accept, or even at times negate and reject the already established facts, workings, and mantras based on the known or taught concepts only after a critical reflection on the ways of workings of the outer world. Let us use the world of language to understand this. Structuralists say that the reality is communicated to us only through languages, whether verbal or non-verbal, and the languages are constructed. So whatever is communicated through language has been thought by someone. For example, when the word flower is named, an image of flower is summoned up in our mind. That means everything has been named or given a meaning. Had from the beginning we were told that flower is equal to this brown and green figure, we would have believed it. So, we can see that language has been constructed. In the similar way, when something is pointed as good, it is because we have been taught to see good in a particular way, as in something which is accepted, sanctioned, and followed. For a long time in India, only intra-caste arranged marriages were considered good and inter-caste were considered bad. That is, for centuries, we were made to see only intra-caste arranged marriages as good marriages. Dowry system was seen as a good practice. Another example could be, if I talk about physical features, the phrases like tall, dark and handsome or my fair beautiful lady were, and unfortunately in some cases are still regarded as the good characteristics to judge boys and girls respectively. The concept of language being constructed and communicating reality is important to assist students to realize that their life or reality is being communicated only in terms of language. But let them identify these constructions and their working in their lives on their own through the help of some activities. For example, you can show them advertisements where different values, linguistic phrases, and colors are used for different genders. This will help students decode or understand the language of patriarchy. That is, how patriarchy keeps the roles of men and women different and fixed.
मामा ये देखो शील्ड लेग हेलमेट
होमवर्क हो गया
मम्मी ये देखो
फिर दाग लगा दिया पापा ये लीजिए आपके घर जाने की टिकट हेलो या आई एम जस्ट गोइंग टू सेंड यू द ईमेल इन 5 मिनट्स या गिव मी 5 मिनट्स आई एम वर्किंग ऑन द प्रेजेंट
मेरी छोटी सी गुड़िया कितनी बड़ी हो गई। घर घर खेलती थी, अब घर संभालती है, ऑफिस संभालती है। आई एम सो प्राउड एंड आई एम सो सॉरी। सॉरी कि ये सब तुम्हें अकेले करना पड़ता है। सॉरी कि जब तुम घर घर खेलती थी तो मैंने तुम्हें रोका नहीं। ये नहीं कहा कि ये सिर्फ तुम्हारा काम नहीं है, तुम्हारे हस्बैंड का भी है। पर कहता भी कैसे है।
और मेरी ग्रीन शर्ट धो देना।
मैंने भी तो कभी तुम्हारी मम्मी की हेल्प नहीं की, और तुमने जो देखा वही सीखा। तुम्हारे हस्बैंड ने भी बचपन में यही देखा होगा। घर घर खेलते वक्त वो टीवी देखने की या न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ने की एक्टिंग करता होगा, और तुम जैसी कोई छोटी सी लड़की चाय बनाने की एक्टिंग करती होगी। उसके डैड की तरफ से सॉरी, तुम्हारे डैड की तरफ से सॉरी, और हर उस डैड की तरफ से सॉरी जिसने कई कई सालों से एक गलत एग्जाम्पल सेट किया है। पर अभी भी देर नहीं हुई। इस सॉरी के साथ मैं अपनी तरफ से एक छोटी सी कोशिश करूंगा कि घर के काम में मम्मी की हेल्प करूं। किचन का किंग ना बन पाऊं तो कम से कम लॉन्ड्री में तो हाथ बटाऊं। इतने साल एक गलत एग्जाम्पल सेट किया है, अब कुछ सही कर जाऊं। तुम्हारा पापा।
Now, let us do an activity to understand how important everyday life is in the process of learning. Have a look at the coming picture and try to remember it. Now, let us try to remember and revise the picture. How many bundles of currency were there? What all denominations were there? Which colors were used for writing? How many rubber bands were there? Which denomination was the man counting? What was the color of the sponge? What was the color of the paper on which text and number were written? How many bundles of each denominations were there? How many of the asked things did you notice? Tell me, how many of the questions could you answer? Let's check the answers. Oh, the earlier picture has partially lost its relevance. The Indian society underwent a drastic change because of demonetization. We had been living in a primarily cash economy, and demonetization all of a sudden took away the major chunk of the cash from the market. When we try to teach and make students remember standardized syllabus, we sometimes forget that things are constantly changing and they become meaningful only when a student learns by connections, relations, and everyday changing reality. A teacher also has to be a strong communicator of value-based knowledge and motivate students to take charge of their learning. The class has to be student-centric. The teacher has to make students understand the significance of constant learning, which is an art of observation, reading, understanding, acceptance or rejection, and then finally change or augmentation. Now, let us assume that we have to discuss and explain the topic communication and various types of communication in a class. In order to discuss the said topic, the following exercises and ways can be experimented. You can begin with an exercise where a geometrical figure has to be conveyed to the class by two students. One who can see the class and answer the queries of the rest of the students, and the other student who cannot see the class. This exercise will help to draw attention to the importance of the cycle of communication and ways of it. To help the student understand the difference between formal and informal communication, make them enact. Ask them to write dialogues between different people in different situations. Next, for explaining the difference between verbal and non-verbal communication, conduct a debate in class. The students will come out with the advantages and disadvantages of both the types of communications on their own. Then, organize group discussions on topics like elections, syllabus, private institutions versus government institutions. Through this, the students will be able to understand the differences between debates and discussions. They will also learn the importance of outcome and how a thought can be expressed. The explanation of the difference between effective and miscommunication can start with Chinese whisper. Interviews of different people can be shown to the class. This will help the students understand the working of language and how profession, personal interest make difference in different interviews. They will also understand the differences between spontaneous and framed answers. In order to make them understand the difference between different types of speeches, make them listen to them. The importance of tone, volume, thoughts, language structure, politeness can be discussed after every speech. Leave your students with an idea, topic, or exercise. Make them active participants and not just passive observants. Plan activities that make students feel included. Contextualize the learning to the contemporary world. It ensures an engagement with the outside world, along with recognizing the significance of the topic in their life. In this process, the students will also come up with questions and bang on. This is another successful shift that you will achieve, making them think, express, and speak their understanding. Discover their individuality. Improvise with limited resources. Acknowledge the different opinions of their classmates. Show your students different perspectives. Jerk them from the mold of a single truth. Clear their misconceptions. This role, that is, the role of a catalyst, is the new indispensable role of a teacher. You are helping your students find their own thoughts and voice, which will make them stronger and confident to thrive and survive. A teacher needs to be a diligent observer. The process of learning is not important just for its end result, but the process in itself is equally important for nurturing human values. It also helps students comprehend the value of collaboration and communication. So while the students are working in groups or doing any activity, the teacher should ensure that the students are not hesitating in asking for any help or clearing their doubts with fellow students or the teacher. Make the students celebrate lacks and mistakes, both theirs and of the fellow classmates, as mistakes or shortcomings are not the sign of incapability, incompetence, or being unintelligent, but rather a sign of progress. Remember, no one knows it all. The teacher, after carefully observing each and every student's performance, should also know how to capitalize on their strengths and weaknesses. A particular student loves a particular task. Let the student do that. It is because he finds more meaning in it. A particular student is distracting the other activity partners through his cell phone. Give him a task to look for some specific facts in the phone. Now, let us discuss the play of communication in the role of a present-day teacher. Communication depends on two people, sender and receiver. Both have to be vigilant and carefully listen to each other in order to ensure smooth flow of the two-way process, that is, to let fruitful communication happen. Therefore, listening is not only the responsibility of students but also of teachers. Never misperceive or judge students on the basis of their communication styles. There are some students who don't think before talking, and while some who talk in bullet points, yes, no, okay. They're basically interested in facts, figures. But all of this can be handled easily if we build good relationships with our students. And the key to that is communication. Communication style is vital and truly connects you with your students. Let us discuss it further through examples of feedback, which in itself is a very important responsibility of teachers. Now, the basic ways of giving feedback are: first, direct. You should not have done this. You should have instead written this. You have not read much. You're absolutely wrong. There is a lot of scope of improvement. You need to improve your handwriting. This method is absolutely wrong and will not fetch you any marks. What is the result? You have offended the student or have completely destroyed his or her confidence. If you have offended the student, this will lead to a disagreement or even an argument. And if the confidence is completely destroyed, then the student might never return to you for assistance. The second type of feedback is indirect feedback, which definitely is polite, like some points here and there. Overall, good. Little more hard work. You can come out with flying colors. Next time, I'm sure even the method will be right. No, this will not work. Rather, this feedback is the most dangerous of all. The student will never be able to understand that he or she still needs to review his or her work. So, what to do? Probably, we can hone our communication style and go this way. First step, ask a polite question. Can we discuss this assignment sometime? I have more ideas about this work. Can I share them with you? Remember, let your students own their learning. They are not kids. They have decided to study the particular subject for higher studies. And we all, as teachers, know our young adult students like choices. With the suggested questions, they will get a feeling of autonomy and a sense of equality. Now comes the second step, be specific. For example, if it is about language, don't say it's wrong or a bad way of writing. Rather, point out the particular sentence and correct it. By doing this, the student will get to know where to improve and what to improve. Third, tell the student the larger consequences of his or her mistake. For instance, how just one step led to the entire sum getting wrong, or just a simple tense mistake changed the meaning of the entire answer. Fourth and last, don't miss to ask for their opinion. Stir their mind to understand their mistake and rethink their answer. Students like to be equal participants, and these 4 steps will convert the feedback into healthy one and will make it one-to-one discussion for the students. Right way of communication helps a teacher to not only connect with the students but also leads to effective learning and motivating environment for the students. Now, when it is about motivation and inspiration, the role of a teacher as a mentor, counselor, and friend in a student's life cannot be missed. But before we discuss this role, let us dwell on our shortcomings in a classroom. First, at times we get too emotionally involved with our students, and this sometimes even makes us biased. Sometimes it is hard to be patient after a particular point. Comparison between the students becomes unavoidable at times. Time constraint. We have a personal life too, and it needs time. So at times we are not able to give time to our students even when we want to. Students at times become target of our anger, that is because of someone else. Sometimes self-motivation levels drop or everything seems worthless. Nonetheless, it is also a fact that these are teachers' common shortcomings. We all keep experiencing them, yet we have been creating bonds that last forever with our students. Teacher-student connections are beyond constraints. We just need to remember that we all have low points in our life, and that is what life is all about, ups and lows. Also, the same fact can help us understand that the above shortcomings are not teacher specific but common human problems. It is our responsibility to understand that our students also have their own difficult times. Their extreme behaviors like anxiety, fear, violence, anger, disinterest, rigidity, resistance stem from the feeling of being stuck or some kind of stagnation. In such times of hardships, we need to enact various roles of a counselor, a mentor, a guide. Building an environment of trust in the classroom is the foremost thing that a teacher should do. This inculcates a sense of mutual care and trust in the students. We lie only when we know that the truth will not be accepted. So, a student should feel free and comfortable to share his or her opinions. Be friends to your students. A relaxed atmosphere intensifies learning. Second, being a counselor does not mean giving advices and suggestions to the students, as one cannot know all. None of us can have solutions for all problems. But yes, after listening to the students patiently and actively, we can give them possible ways or perspectives to look at their problems. Try to be empathetic. That is, try to see and understand things from their perspectives. Don't be judgmental. Making the student aware of the many dimensions of the issues raised and helping the student to reflect and introspect is often the beginning of the solution to their problem. Assure them that their problem will be kept confidential. Mentoring comes in a package with teaching responsibilities in higher education system. It ranges from curriculum related issues to mentoring for options in subjects to helping students understand various career options available. Don't forget, anything other might change or transform in the education system, but the relationship between the students and a passionate teacher will always remain the foundation of a successful classroom. An important role and responsibility of a teacher is to ensure a democratic setup in the classroom. Yes, inclusion can make a happy classroom too. A classroom is not only a sacred place but also a democratic space. In this space, a teacher has to engage with students of diverse backgrounds and different learning abilities. The difference stems from many factors like gender, sexuality, class, community, different abilities. These factors constitute an important part of students' identities. Amid such a diverse reality, teacher has to safeguard and nurture the rights and interests of all the students. Unity is the most important factor for the growth of any nation and a teacher needs to nourish it. In fact, teachers' attitude towards this issue determines the learning environment of the respective classrooms. Teachers have to be free from such prejudices, which can be done through self introspection and being aware of the prejudices intellectually. The first thing a teacher can do to accomplish social inclusion, that is, oneness and equality for all the students in her class, is to identify the degree of differences existing. That is, the teacher has to first recognize each and every difference existing in the class that leads to social exclusion. This can be done through any simple activity where there is a need of different groups or teams. Let the students first choose their partners or group members on their own. Your role as a teacher is to study these groups for all kinds of social categorizations. If any divide or prejudice is witnessed, then introduce students to one another and highlight the social and cultural realities of students' backgrounds. You can again use activities to accomplish unity. For instance, during this lockdown, when the resources are limited, we can engage students of different social backgrounds together to devise ways to combat the crisis of the availability of only limited resources. You can also ask them to discuss their point of views about different policies that the government has been using to deal with this crisis, and then draft a completely fresh policy for the citizens on the basis of their understandings and experience, that is, the understandings and experiences of the students. The activity will help them to learn about each other's experiences and realities. They will be able to clear many misconceptions that they have about each other's situation or place in the society. An understanding and, to an extent, sense of mutual respect will be developed in them for different social realities. Social inclusion is not at all a difficult task, as we just need to make our students understand that the social, political, economic, and even physical factors that those seem to constitute our identity for the society are not fixed. Identity is just a role play, and while playing the role, it is all up to an individual to select the desired role. One can choose to be a football lover, a brother, a friend, an enthusiast, a person who loves to eat, a traveler, a fan of Amitabh Bachchan, or just a human. Give them the opportunity and tasks to understand that identity can be constructed outside the boxes of social parameters also. Let them describe themselves through their interests, skills, hobbies, emotions, passions, and aspirations. Teachers also have to be conscious of using language that is not discriminative. In short, being aware of prejudices and restraining oneself from perpetuating them ensures an inclusive learning environment. Another substantial role of a teacher is to contribute to the overall personality development of the students through extracurricular and non-academic activities also. Teachers can constitute various societies, committees, programs, conferences, seminars for the same. More examples to contribute to the overall personality development of the students are student-centric business plans, competitions, and case studies, study of the concept of happiness and its academic and cultural relevance and implications in contemporary society, create a gender-sensitized campus and society, equip your students to help the marginalized sections of the society. Like students can be asked to volunteer underprivileged children academically and assist them in building their skills to make them employable. Various departments can organize various student-centric and academic activities such as special lectures, interactive sessions, industrial visits, excursions, internships, and screening of documentary films. Interdisciplinary projects involving both the students can also be planned. Mentor-mentee program in a classroom environment helps to cater to various needs and interests of the students, so this can be done. Interaction with alumni can enrich the on-roll students. They can be skill enhancement sessions, develop their creativity and research aptitudes. Students should be encouraged to participate in national and international level seminars. You can organize distinguished lecture series. There can be literary competitions, workshops and quiz competitions organized by other colleges. cultural activities organized by other colleges. That means you can encourage them to participate in workshops, quiz competition, and cultural activities that are organized by other colleges. Next is outreach programs in collaboration with NGOs or any other outside industries. Such activities will inculcate a sense of social responsibility in students and make them aware about the dynamics of the changing social cultural aspects of everyday life. Students will become more confident and will learn new practical skills. Through all the discussed activities, teachers can also fulfill their responsibility towards their institutes. Assessments and accreditations like NAC, NBA depends on such efforts of the teachers. Then there are also certain administrative responsibilities of a teacher. However, these might vary from universities to other universities, universities to colleges. Nonetheless, to enlist a few: curriculum designing and enrichment, development fund planning, admissions, examinations, ensuring ragging free and safe campus. Teachers are also a part of internal quality assurance cell. IQAC plays an important role in improving the quality of academics and other related activities of the institution. After working for some years, teachers also have to perform duties of being a part of the governing body of the institution. Maintaining proper attendance records, timetable making, decisions about workload are also some of the other administrative responsibilities of a teacher. And last but not the least, we have to be responsible for our own selves as teachers. For this, we constantly need to enhance and enrich our learning process and knowledge. Some of the ways to augment our knowledge base are research, be it a book, paper published in journals, or paper presentations. Second way is refreshers courses, induction programs, orientation programs, workshops, faculty development programs. And the next way is interdisciplinary programs and projects. Teachers do not have to only prepare students for life, but also have to create a rich, meaningful life for themselves. So now let us discuss our next role and responsibility. This one is very interesting and also new. And if I borrow my students' language, it is happening. It is a responsibility to acquire digital citizenship. In the contemporary world, students carry content in their pocket. Yes, technology is the language that they speak. Like, let me just check. No, ma'am, but Google says. Sir, we can use Zoom. Ma'am, we can download this app. I would say embrace their language and knowledge. Cool, let's interact via Zoom. Believe me, you pick up their language and knowledge and they will embrace learning. Technology interests students. It is quick, it is fast, it is flexible. And 21st century brains are wired just like computers. They switch from one website to another, surf internet, exchange, pass on the facts, figures, information as fast as internet transforms and receives billions of bits in a second. So, a teacher should make the most out of this common interest of all the youngsters. By doing so, the classrooms can become the means to an easy and quick access to the outside entire world. This program itself has been organized using technology. Teachers can use the digital world in various ways and for many things. We can help students make global connections through technology. A teacher who teaches science can take the students to a virtual trip to the most extensive laboratories of the world. The one who are teaching humanities can go for a 3D tour of famous monuments and historical sites across the globe to explore different cultures. Teachers teaching mathematics through a classroom Twitter account can let the students tweet to the known mathematician. We can explore other classes being conducted anywhere in the world. When the meaning of education is itself changing, the means also has to be altered. Some easy and freely accessible tools and applications available on the internet can assist you in it. Online classroom platforms like Google Classroom give you a perfect setup to organize classes at any time. You can give material to your students to go through, make announcements, trigger discussions. There is also an option of digital evaluation in the form of MCQs. Yet, at the same time, you can give them extensive feedbacks too, both to the entire class or individually to a student. The students can also clear their doubts both on the common space available on the classroom platform or individually. You can upload pictures, PPT, YouTube links to make the classroom more interesting and fruitful. So even in the times like now, where there has been a complete lockdown for so many months, such platforms help in the smooth interaction between teachers and students. So you can see one can create as many classrooms as one wants on this platform. BA English on the second semester, fourth semester, BCom program, BA program, the 4 classes that I am teaching this semester. We have an option of announcement which is called stream. Students can comment on it. For example, please fill it by tomorrow. So Muskan Khan has commented, okay ma'am, and there are more comments. You can use the space for discussions also. You can post your entire lectures or discussion material here under classwork, date-wise. See, these are my lectures or discussion material or test assignments, whatever you want to post here. Then there's a complete list of students who have enrolled in the classroom, like a usual attendance register available. Next, you have scores, who all have submitted, that is turned in. There are certain things that you do not want to assign to all the students, certain activities, certain assignments. If they have submitted it in time or they are late, see, done late. All can be synced at one place, and that too in front of the name of each student. So you have the record of the entire student in front of his or her name. Next, through online meeting platforms like Zoom or Google Meet, you can anywhere and anytime recreate the charm of the physical setup of a classroom. As in, the students and teachers can interact face to face. Teachers' understanding of their students is not only dependent on words, paralanguage also plays a significant role. This advantage remains intact through the online meeting platforms. So, this is the user interface of Zoom. You can meet your students face to face through this platform. You can chat with them in written, and you can also share content. See? You can chat with them, you can share the content. This will generate all the participants list, that is the students who are there to attend that particular session. And if it is a webinar, that is you want your students to listen to some known person, then it is all up to you to use this option of mute. Where, first you can just let the speaker speak, and then you can unmute everyone to discuss. Similarly, you can start the video and you can stop the video. If you want, you can switch it on, switch it off. Similarly, Google Meet is another platform for online meetings with almost the same features as Zoom. Next comes this very interesting tool called Open Broadcaster Software, OBS. I have recorded these 4 sessions through OBS. When in today's global world we share content across geographical locations, the difference in time zones can be battled through such softwares like OBS. Also, once recorded, the contents stay with the students forever to refer. And you can not just only record through OBS, but through the various mediums integrated within it, you can also share your screen. As in, like you write on the blackboard, you can write on the screen.
See how simple it is?
You can run a PowerPoint presentation or even show a video to your students. You yourself saw videos and PowerPoint presentations in these sessions. A picture is worth 100 words. So we have live charts which help us in making flexible and interactive data visuals. You can use them, for instance, to trace the gradual progress of your students. This can be another interesting way of giving feedback. See? English scores and the marks that they have got in their Hindi assignments. Different students. Mind mapping tools are available for making notes, brainstorming. You can use them to just give the key points to your students, and the students can add on the understandings to the key points. Or if you want, you can unfold the entire concept step by step through these tools. Animations. It is the new cinema, and cinematic language appeals the students the most. You have already seen self-made animation clips in these sessions. Open Educational Resources (OER) are available on vast subject matter. They are designed in the most interesting and interactive ways. You can use them, borrow them, and redesign them according to your convenience. But yes, you need to have some copyright information. Then there are applications like Amazon Audible and eBook Creator to help students and teachers. Amazon Audible read the books, which can be the most helpful thing for some students. With eBook Creator, you can create ebooks using your own photo collections, videos, movies, and you can also add your own voice to them. And finally, Massive Open Online Courses, MOOCs. It is the medium through which you are right now pursuing this induction and orientation program. It provides the worldwide platform to a teacher to be a facilitator. For example, it is a MOOC course that I have created, English Language Enhancement course. It is a basic level English language online course. You can give in details like you can write about the course, if there is any eligibility criteria that the people or the students who are enrolling for the course need to fulfill. Then other things, your details, if you can anticipate some questions that might be asked by the students who want to enroll for the course, all the other details that you want to give. Yes, you can make your own website also. So, finally, in the changing socio-culture and economic reality of the world, where the role of higher education in the society itself has been redefined, technology is becoming the governing force, and students have access to information just by a click. Teachers will have to embrace technology and adorn the role of practitioners and facilitators, making the classroom a thought-provoking space. So, in the end, I would like to say spur your students and they will grow strong into their natural splendor. Thank you.